And if you want to get the system announcements, like broadcast receiver is registered for system announcements. Okay. So for example, once if you connect a headset, imagine this is your device screen. This is your device screen. So once if you connect a headset, once if you connect a headset, on top of your device notification bar, you'll get this headset symbol. You'll get on top of this device notification bar, you'll get what? The headset symbol. You'll get whenever user connects a headset, you'll get this headset symbol. You'll get. So every time it will not display this symbol. Whenever user connects a headset, then only it will display this headset symbol. It will show. And next, this is a default charger symbol. I mean battery symbol. This is the default battery symbol. Okay. Whenever user connect a charger, immediately it's going to change the symbol like this. Power connected symbol is going to display like this. Whenever user connects a charger, immediately it's going to change the symbol like this. Every time it will not display like this, right? So this is a default one. Whenever user connects a charger, immediately it will change like this. Power connected. For example, if battery is low, it will display with a red mark. If battery is low, it will display with the red mark. It will display. Okay. If battery is completely dead, it will display the into mark. It will display. If battery is completely dead, it will display with the into mark. Okay. So my question is, how your device will recognize all these things? How the device will recognize all these things? User connected a charger. Okay. Battery is low. Or phone is restart. I mean, phone is rebooting. Headset plug-in. Screen on. Screen off. User is making a call. User is receiving a call. So meaning how the device is receiving all these things by using what? Broadcast receivers. Broadcast receivers are registered for system announcements. If you want to get any system announcements, if you want to get, then we use these broadcast receivers. The examples for broadcast receiver is what? Headset plugin, headset plugin, charger connected or disconnected, charger connected or disconnected. Next, screen on or off. Next, user is making a call or user is receiving a call. User is making a call or user is receiving a call. A phone is going to switch off or phone is rebooted. Like if you want to get these announcements, if you want to get, then we use the broadcast receiver series. Okay. Let's see what are the steps to work with broadcast receiver. Steps to work with what? Broadcast receiver. Steps to work with broadcast receiver. The first step to work with broadcast receiver is we had to create a class. First step to work with broadcast receiver is create a class with subtype of Android.content.broadcast receiver. This is the first step. Create a class with subtype of what? Android.content.broadcast receiver is a class. This is the first step for creating a broadcast receiver. Create a class with subtype of Android.content.broadcast receiver. It is an abstract class, meaning this broadcast receiver is an abstract class. It is an abstract class having an abstract method. It is an abstract class having an abstract method called onReceive. Having an abstract method called what? OnReceive is abstract method. It is an abstract class having an abstract method called onReceive is abstract method. So abstract method means if a class contains any abstract method, definitely we have to provide the implementation for the abstract method. Okay. So this is a first we have to provide the implementation for the on receive method we have to provide. Next, from activity class, for which events you want to get the broadcast announcement, for which events you want to get, for which event you want to get the broadcast announcement, for which events you want to get the broadcast announcements, configure the events using intent filter. There is a class called intent filter is a class. Basically, intent filter means nothing but group of intents is called as intent filter. Group of intents is called as what? Intent filter. For which events you want to get the broadcast announcements, configure the events using intent filter. So let's create the object for intent filter class. Intent filter is equals to new intent filter. Intent filter is equals to what? New intent filter. Intent filter object dot add action is a method. Intent filter object dot add action is a method. Specify the action name here. For which event you want to get the broadcast announcements, let's configure the actions here. For example, I want to get the announcement for headset plugin or charger connected or charger disconnected. For which events you want to get the announcements, let's configure here. For example, I want to get the announcement for headset plugin. I want to get the announcement intent dot action underscore headset plugin intent filter dot add action of headset plugin. This action I want to get. Next, intent filter dot add action. I want to get the announcement for intent dot action underscore power connected. Okay, so action underscore power connected, power disconnected, screen on, screen off, like power connected, power disconnected, screen on or screen off, like this. You can configure n number of actions. You can configure like this from your activity class. For which events you want to get the broadcast announcements, for which events you want to get the broadcast announcements, let's configure the events using intent filter tag. Let's configure the events using what? Intent filter. Screen on or screen off. Okay. Next, there is a method called register receiver is a method. Register receiver is a method. First parameter, you have to specify your broadcast receiver class object. First parameter, you have to specify what? The broadcast receiver class object. Second parameter is the intent filter object. So these are the two parameters you have to specify to this register receiver method. First parameter is your broadcast receiver class object. You have to specify the first parameter, and second parameter is the intent filter object. Broadcast receiver class object. Second parameter is what? Intent filter. Okay. If any one of the configured event is happen, if any one of the configured event is happened, if any one of the configured event is happened, it will invoke on receive method in the broadcast receiver. Okay. If any one of the configured event is happened, it will invoke on receive method in broadcast receiver. Okay, like you can configure the n number of actions. You can configure like this here. You can configure what? The n number of actions you can configure. If any one of the configured event is happen, it will invoke what? It will invoke on receive method in the broadcast receiver. So this is the main statement, boss. If you understand this statement, you'll understand the whole concept. If any one of the configured event is happen, in this configured events, if any one of the configured event is happen, It's going to call the on receive method in the broadcast receiver. Okay, so we'll create a simple application. We'll create. Now we'll configure these actions. We'll configure these actions. We'll configure if any one of these event is happen. It's going to call the on receive method, right? Let's do one thing. My application requirement is I want to design an application. I want to design. So here let's take a text view component with the large text. Here we take a UI component called what? One text view component will take with a large text. One text view component will take with a large text. When user connects a headset, we'll update this message. We'll update the message that is headset plugin. When user connect a charger, will display message charger connected, charger disconnected, screen on or screen off. So that event, right, we'll get that event, will get that broadcast announcement, and we'll display that message, will display on this text view component. Okay, these are requirement. So let's create a project. Let's start a new project. To specify the project name, let's take my project name is BR test. Broadcast receiver test is a project. Okay, next take an empty activity. Finish. It's loading still. So our requirement is there is no much user interface, just in the activity XML file. Our activity XML file will create a UI component called. Just we'll create one text view component. We'll create with the large text. Let's take a large text component and let's take a UI component with the large text. Okay. Just we create text view component in the XML. That's it. This is what the user interface. Let's close XML. Now here, first we'll create a broadcast receiver. We'll create. What is the first step for creating a broadcast receiver? We had to create a class. We had to create. You can create a separate class. You can create, or you can create an inner class also. You can create. No issue. For example, I'm creating an inner class. I'm creating. Meaning within this main activity, I'm creating one more class. I'm creating inner class. Class inner class I'm creating. So inner class means we should never declare with the public. If a class is it's an inner class, we should not declare with what? Public. Okay. So class my receiver extends broadcast receiver. Class my receiver extends what? Broadcast receiver. This is the first step for creating a broadcast receiver. But see here, it's showing an error. Error is nothing but, boss, you are extending an abstract class. So definitely you have to provide the implementation for the abstract methods. So this class contains an abstract method called onReceive method. So select the implement methods. Click on the error, show you the solution. Implement the methods. Select this implement methods. It is having an abstract method called onReceive is the method. So we had to provide the implementation. We had to provide for the onReceive method. We had to provide the implementation. Okay, this is the first step. We had to create a broadcast receiver. We had to create a class with subtype of broadcast, which contains a method called onReceive. Provide the implementation for onReceive method. Next thing is in your activity class, onCreate method, let's create the object for intent filter. Let's create the object for what? Intent filter is equals to new intent filter. Intent filter is equals to what? New intent filter. Intent filter dot add action is a method. Intent filter dot add action is a method. Let's configure the number of actions here. For example, I want to get the announcement for headset plugin. I want to get the announcement. Intent dot action underscore headset plugin. Okay. Next, I want to get the announcement for power connected. I want to get the announcement. Intent dot action underscore power connected. The power is disconnected. You want to get the announcement. Filter dot add action of intent dot action underscore power disconnected. Screen on or screen off. Like this, even you can find the announcements for making a call, receiving a call, sending an SMS, receiving an SMS, phone is shut, meaning phone is going to shut down, or phone is rebooted. Okay, like there are n number of announcements are there, like battery low, battery is completely dead. Okay, or battery is full. So how? I mean, if you want to get all these announcements, if you want to get, then you can configure the actions you have to configure here. Okay, just for demonstration, I configured few actions I configured. Just for demonstration, I configured what? A few actions I configured. Next, after configuring this list of actions, okay, let's call a method called what? Register receiver is a method. What is the method name? Register receiver is a method name. First parameter is the object of your broadcast receiver class. First parameter is the object of your broadcast receiver class. For example, what is your class name? My receiver is a class name. My receiver is a class. Specify the object of your broadcast receiver class name, my receiver, comma. Second parameter is the object of intent filter. Second parameter is what? The object of intent filter class. Object of broadcast receiver. Second parameter is the intent filter object. Okay. Next. So here, if any one of the configured event is happened, If any one of these configured event is happen, like headset plugin, charger connected, disconnected, if any one of these configured event is happen, it's going to call the on receive method in the broadcast receiver. It will call the on receive method in the broadcast receiver. Okay, so in this on receive method, if any one of these configured events are happen, it's going to call the on receive method in the broadcast receiver. So let's write the logic here. What are the action you wants to perform when this particular event is happen? See, if any one of the configured event is happen, like it may be headset plugin, power connected, disconnected, any one of the configured event is happen, it's going to call the on receive method. But how you'll recognize here? How you'll recognize whether the request from headset plugin or power connected or power disconnected? How you'll get that event? This intent object. This intent object will tell you what is the event type, whether it's a headset plugin or charger connected, disconnected. The event type it will tell you this intent object. Here we configure the actions we configured by using add action method, and here we have to get the actions by using get action method. See here, first we have to create globally. Let's declare a variable for text view. In the XML file, we created a UI component called text view component. We created right after this set content view method. Let's initialize the text view component. If any one of these configured event is happen, it's going to call the on receive method in the broadcast receiver. So in this on receive method, so there we configured the actions using intent object. Here we had to get the actions we had to get. Let's write here if intent dot get action, if intent dot get action is double is equals to intent dot action underscore headset plugin. If intent dot get action is equals to intent dot action underscore headset plugin. If the request from headset plugin, this particular block is going to be called. Else if intent dot get action is equals to intent dot action underscore power connected. Else if intent dot get action is equals to intent dot action underscore power disconnected. Headset plugin, power connected, power disconnected. Like this you can configure the n number of actions you can configure. Like this you can configure what? N number of actions you can configure. Get action is equals to the specified action underscore headset plugin, power connected, power disconnected, intent dot action underscore screen on or screen off. Like this you can configure the n number of events you can configure. Else if the request type, I mean the event is screen off, you can configure the n number of events you can configure. If any one of the configured event, you can configure n number of events you can configure. If any one of the configured event is happen, it will invoke the on receive method in the broadcast receiver. Okay, so here we are getting the action we are getting here, because here we added the multiple actions we added, so we are getting that actions we are getting here. Okay, if the request from headset plugin, what we will do is we'll create a text view component we created, right? We'll update the text will update for this text view component. We'll update the text will update for text view one component dot set text. What is the message you want to display? Headset plugin is the message you want to display. Headset plugin. If the request from power connected, will display a message. Will display power connected. We'll update the text will update on text view component, that is power connected. Headset plugin, power connected and power disconnected. Headset plugin, power connected, power disconnected. Next, screen on or screen off. Headset plugin, power connected, power disconnected, screen on and screen off. Okay, so we configured multiple events. We configured. Let's run the application in the device because we cannot test this app. We cannot test an emulator. We cannot test. Okay, let's run the app in device. So give me a minute. I'll connect the device. I'll connect. Let's run the app. So app is already installed. Just I'm waiting for the preview to display. No, it's taking this much time. Okay, we have another option to show the preview. I hope you can see the screen right. So what is the default text it is displaying? The default text it is displaying as large text it is displaying the default text. 1 second. Now the screen is on, right? So that's why it is updated the message screen on, it's updated. Okay, but initially we got the large text and we got the default text. Whether that screen is visible here. You see here the status is updating here. Once if you show this. So now what is the message showing as power connected, right? See, I'm removing this USB connection. I'm removing because this it will work as a USB as well as charger also. Now it's showing the message as power connected, right? Now I remove this USB, I removed. See, what is the status? What is the message it's showing now? Power disconnected is showing now. Now I'm connecting this USB, I'm connecting. Now I'm connecting the USB, I'm connecting. So once if you connect the USB, see here, I'm connecting the USB now. See what is the message it's showing? It will show. It's shown the message as what? Power connected. So once if you remove this USB, it will update the message as power is disconnected. Now the screen, I'll off the screen. So I'll select the power button and select. Once if you select the power button, screen will off. At that time it will display a message screen off, but it cannot show to the user, right? Because screen is off. So once again, if you select this power button, if you select once again, if you select the power button, if you select again, so if you select the power button, if you select again, now it's showing the message as what? Screen on is the message it's showing. Okay. Now we'll see the last one, that is headset plugin. Now it is showing the message as screen on is the message is showing. Now I'll connect a headset. I'll connect. Now I'll connect a headset. So now it's showing the message as screen on. Okay. Now I'm connecting the headset. I'm connecting. I'm connecting the headset. I'm connecting. So once if you connect a headset, once if we connect and see what is the message is showing. Message is showing as what? Headset plugin. Okay. Like if you want to get the announcements, if you want to get the system announcements, if you want to get, then we use the broadcast receiver concept we use. Just for demonstration, we taken headset plugin, charger connected, charger disconnected, screen on, screen off. Next. So we configured few actions we configured. Like this, you can configure a number of actions you can configure. If any one of the event is happened, it's going to call the on receive method in the, if any one of the configured event is happen, it will invoke the on receive method in the broadcast receiver. Okay, this is a broadcast receiver concept. Any queries? No. So next we'll discuss the next one, that is content provider. The next component, next Android component, that is content provider. Okay, initial classes I explained what is the definition of content provider. What is the definition of content provider? Content provider is used to share. Content provider is used to share the data between multiple applications. Content provider is used to share the data between multiple applications. Content provider is used to share the data between multiple applications. Meaning, in Android, one of the security feature is we cannot access the data from the data from other applications to our application. In Android, one of the security feature is what? In Android, one of the security feature is we cannot access the data from other applications to our application. Okay, so it's one of the security feature in Android. We cannot access the data from other applications to our application. But if the application is providing content provider, but if the application is providing content provider, then we can access the data into our application. Okay, so in Android, directly we cannot access, but if the application is providing content provider, then we can access. Okay, so in Android, following built-in applications are providing content provider. Okay, the applications are nothing but one is contacts is an example. Contacts is separate application. We can access that contacts data. We can access in our application. We can access because contacts is providing the content provider. Contacts, you can access the device call log information. You can access. You can access the device media information. We can access the device settings information, and we can access the device calendar information. You can access. Like these are some of the built-in applications in Android. These are some of the built-in applications in Android. We can access these applications data. We can access in other applications. We can access. Okay, it's simple, boss. Content provider means nothing but basically we stored the data into our database, right? For example, I created an app called some X application. I created an app, for example, X application. This X application is stored some data in the database. This X application is stored some data in the database. So what is a database in Android? Discussed. SQLite is a database in Android. So this X application is stored some data in the database. This X application is stored some data in the database. This X app is stored some data in the database. X application is stored some data in the database. Now the requirement is in my phone there is an app called Y application. In my phone there is an app called what? So Y application is another app. Now the requirement is this Y application wants to access. In my phone there is one more app called Y application. In my phone there is one more app called what? Y application. Now the requirement is this Y application wants to access. This Y application wants to access the X application's data. This is the requirement. X is stored some data in the database. X application is stored some data in the database. Now the requirement is this Y application wants to access the X application's data. This is the requirement. This Y application wants to access the X application's data. This is the requirement. But directly it's not possible in Android. See, Y application cannot access the data. Y application cannot access this X application's data. It cannot access directly. Because X application is not providing the permission to you. It is given the permission as context.mode underscore private while it is creating a database. So other applications cannot access. If they specify the permission as context.mode underscore world or mode underscore readable or writable permissions if they specify, then we can access the data into our application we can access. Okay, meaning providing that permission is nothing but is called as a content provider. If the application is providing that permission to access the data, then you can access the data you can access in your application. Directly we cannot access the data from our application, but if the application is providing content provider, then we can access the data in our application we can access. Okay, so in Android some built-in applications are providing the content providers like context, call log, settings, media. So these information we can access in our application. Okay, let's see what are the steps to work with content provider. Steps to work with what? Content provider. So first thing, to get any content provider into activity, to get any content provider into activity, to get any content provider into activity. So first we had to get the object for. To get any content provider into activity, we had to get an object for content resolver. We had to get an object for what? We had to get an object for content resolver class. We had to get an object. We had to get the object for what? Content resolver class. We had to get an object. So let's create the object for content resolver. Let's create the object for content resolver is equals to, there is a method called get content resolver is a method. content resolver is equals to, what is the method name? Get content resolver is a method. Get content resolver is a method to get the object for content resolver class. Get content resolver is a method to get the object for what? Content resolver class. Next. Meaning by using this content resolver, we can get any content provider into activity. Okay. Next, to get the data from any content provider, I use the following code. Use the following code to get the data from the content provider. Use the following code to get the data from content provider. To get the data from content provider. So that is nothing but return type of this method is nothing but a cursor object, because we discussed when you discuss the database also, SQL database also, we got the response we got from the database in a cursor object. Meaning SQL data we got in a cursor object we got. The return type is cursor. Resolver object dot, content resolver object dot query is a method. Content resolver object dot, what is the method name? Query is a method. So in this query method, the first parameter we had to specify the URI of that particular content provider. Every content provider is having a URI. We had to specify the URI of that particular content provider. That is the first thing. We had to specify the URI of that particular content provider. There are few other parameters are there. We'll see what is the other parameters. But every content provider is having a URI. We had to specify the URI of that particular content provider. Okay. So you'll get the data you will get. Now the data is available in which object? Cursor object, the data is available. You'll get the data you'll get from the server. Now the data we stored into the cursor object is stored. Okay. If the data is available in a cursor, if the data is available in a cursor, for presenting the data is available in a cursor. For presenting the data, Android is providing an adapter called. The data is available in a cursor. For presenting the data, Android is providing an adapter called simple cursor adapter. Simple cursor adapter. We've seen array adapter. We've seen array adapter we discussed. Next, after that we discussed custom adapter we discussed. Then after that we discussed recycler adapter we discussed. The replacement of custom adapter. That is recycler adapter we discussed. And then now the third one we are going to discuss, that is cursor adapter. Okay. In the beginning classes only I told you, right? There are three types of adapters: array adapter, custom adapter, and cursor adapter. Now we are discussing the third one we are discussing, cursor adapter. For presenting the data, Android is providing an adapter called simple cursor adapter. So let's create the object for this simple cursor adapter class. Simple cursor adapter. Simple cursor adapter is equals to simple cursor adapter is equals to new simple cursor adapter. So we have to specify a few parameters. We have to specify. First thing is the context. First thing is what? We have to specify the context. We have to specify the first one. Second thing is nothing but XML file. Second thing is nothing but the XML file. What are the user interface? XML file. Third parameter is a cursor object. Third parameter is what? Cursor object. Context, XML file, cursor object. A fourth parameter is nothing but from. Fifth parameter is nothing but to. From and to. Context we know. If you are in the activity class, we'll specify this. Will specify. Second parameter is nothing but XML file. Meaning whatever the user interface you want to display in the individual item will create XML file. That is also we know that. The third parameter is the cursor object. Anyway, we'll get the cursor object. We'll specify the cursor object. We'll specify the third parameter. What about this from and to? This from means nothing but it's a string array. From is what? This is a string array. In this string array, we'll specify the DB column names will specify. From is a string array. In this string array, we'll specify what? Database column names will specify in this string array. Database column names will specify in this string array. Next is 2. This 2 is an integer array. This 2 is what? It's an integer array. We'll specify the IDs of the UI components. We'll specify what? The IDs of the UI components. Like for example, r.id.tv1, r.id.tv2. We'll specify the IDs of the UI components where you want to present these components. Okay. So now we'll create a simple application. We'll create. My requirement is I want to present the list of contacts I want to present on a list v component. A list v component, I want to present the data in this format I want to present. One is a name I want to present, and second thing is a number. Like how many contacts are there in my phone, I want to get all the list of contacts I want to get. I want to display the person name and a number. Name and a number. So I want to display all these contacts I want to display in this format I want to display. I want to display the person name here, and below this I want to display the person number. So name and number, like how many contacts are available, I want to display all the list of contacts I want to display in this format. Name and number. Name and number. Okay. But this example we'll discuss tomorrow. We'll discuss because I have some emergency work. Okay. So just I had to leave. Sorry for today, and tomorrow we'll discuss definitely this example we'll discuss tomorrow. We'll discuss. So any queries in the today's class? This content provider example we'll discuss tomorrow. We'll discuss, and another thing is this week is the last week for the classes. Okay. Maybe in the next 2-3 days we'll close all the topics. We'll close. Okay. Then after that I'll tell you on sample project. I'll tell you. Okay. So any queries? Let me know if you have any queries. Otherwise we'll discuss tomorrow. We'll discuss this one. Okay. Okay then. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Just work on this broadcast receiver, and tomorrow we'll discuss this content provider example. We'll discuss tomorrow, and the service part also will start tomorrow. Thank you. See you tomorrow.